Thank you guys for coming. Seriously, this is our first of what I hope will be many events like this where we come together, we have some breakfast, lunch. The reality is there's a lot of things that we're working on right now. And we only have 4 meetings a year to really talk about and dig into what we're providing for our members. So a lot of the unions in the valley, they meet every single month. I don't think we need to meet that much, but if we can have these in-between meetings to talk about what services we offer, what things we're working on, get buyback and feedback from what you guys directly want us to take. And the reality is we serve you guys. So the more we can do these things and really dig into what you guys want, the better we can facilitate a meeting for you guys. So with that, you can see on the board, this is kind of our agenda today. I don't intend to be here more than a couple hours. If we have to cut out the bylaws at the end, we will, and we'll just talk about the meeting, but hopefully we can at least get to that. And I can present to you guys some of the big changes with that. So with that, we'll get started. First item to talk about is the IAF Center for Excellence. Mental health, post-traumatic stress, substance abuse, we know it's a problem on fire service. At convention, a lot of these things come from our conventions as well. So we want to share the information when we come back on them. So myself, Roland, we spent a good amount of time sitting down with the representative from the Center of Excellence, and she was kind of digging into our insurance and how the process would go if we do have members that need it. So if there's one takeaway from everything we talked about today is, you're not alone. Your union's here for you. Your brothers and sisters are here for you. If you're going through something, don't feel like you're isolated. There's resources available. And that's why we brought Chris down today, because he was one of those members that maybe felt isolated, and he went through this process. So he's going to share some stories with you. So please thank Chris for coming down. So with that, we're going to start with a video, and then I'm going to toss the floor over to Chris. He's going to introduce himself. Chris, just a quick little introduction. Me and Chris met 5-6 years ago on a wildland fire in California, and spent a couple weeks together and really got to know him. And just by happenstance, we met at the convention, and we just that day were talking about the Center for Excellence, and he was a participant there. So I think the star of the line, and he shared some intimate stories with me about that facility. So I think that'll be a good thing to offer to our members that service is there. So we'll start with the video, and then I'll pass the floor to Chris. Where's the ambulance?
The IAFF is fulfilling its commitment.
They don't get it.
To Resolution 49 to build a center of excellence in behavior and West Coast. As many of you know, the IAFF is partnered with Advanced Recovery Systems to provide behavioral health services. IAFF Center of Excellence in Maryland. We recently signed an amended licensing agreement with ARS to operate a center on a beautiful 285-acre campus in Hamlet, California. When complete, the center will be a brand new state-of-the-art facility that will provide excellent services to our members. It is way past the time that we openly discuss the behavioral health issues that confront many of us. It's a strength, not a weakness, to acknowledge that we're human and that we all have everyday issues that can become overwhelming. Our existing center in Maryland has literally saved lives, kept families together, and preserved careers. The center in California will do the same. And I'm excited to tell you that we're one significant step closer to making that vision a reality. The IAFF devotes itself to the lives and health of our membership. It's the most important thing we do. If you need help, ask. If you see a brother or sister who needs help, get them help. Call the IAFF Center of Excellence, and we'll get you the help you need. Be you, be strong, be firefighters.
Chris, you got the floor.
Hi guys, my name's Chris Rico. I retired from Rico Fire back in two times, Dr. Fuson. My local is 46 and one line. I was the meeting president for like 6 or 7 years. Vice president, okay. So. Long story short, some stuff going on in my life. Coming overwhelmed, right? Jobs, families, death and all that stuff. Got to a point where I just kept burying it, burying it, burying it. And at that point, I was like, I'm gonna be okay. Everybody comes to me for everything, you know, you're the president, everybody, or you're that guy that get your shirt off your back, right? And then guy goes, go to the shirt. So, guys kept going and stuff, and I kept helping her, but helping her, like, not helping myself. So I got to the point where, in my life that I was going through a divorce at the time. And that whole divorce thing, sucks, right? So divorce, financial stuff, and I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I literally was just hiding from everybody when I got out here. I was just solitary, pretty much get off with, stay at home, I'm gonna go. And just started living my normal life. But I just kept struggling. I started having nightmares, started having that depression going on. And when you got to the point where I was like, hey, I gotta get help. You know, divorce problems. I got to the point where I guess I'm good. What we done? You know, I think this is done. I'm it. I'm done. All I need anymore. And he started crying and stuff, bawling, and pick up the phone and call, the doctor, Karen from Melody, her name is. For the well, she works for the PCS and Everglaw. She's the one that helped me get into that. So I called her, called my help. My dad came, I love this news over there, came, down I go. And then she got me on a flight the next day. I went out for that. So I go there. Didn't know what to expect. It's all jumped up. And I go there and then they give you. Well, first of all, you pay one flight. You need to take my flight. One flight, went out there. I have to fix you up. Any bus, small, but I fix you up. You guys look at this. Doctor. He knows the game already. He picks you up, takes you, it's about an hour drive, it's from the airport to where you gotta go, you get out there. And then, he shows you the facility, first you get in, you gotta check in. So they get you, they check in, they check your bags, right? Make sure you're not taking any contraband, or take anything with the guy, you gotta do the swap off, okay, they're coming for. You gotta do that. You get all your medication that you're taking, you take them away. And they put you in a holding room for a couple nights and it's for detox. Oh, that's right. So any addiction you do, that's what the center is. So you go, you sit there for 2 days. So to show you where you're gonna sleep, like you don't unpack, you just kind of have a little bed. And then you we're like, you're gonna eat there by in a few minutes, right? So usually the guy who was the last one to eat there comes up and introduces himself to me. Right? There's another fellow brother comes up and says, hey, I'm so. Yeah, I've been here a week, or I've been here 10 days or whatever. And he shows me around, he looks around. Oh yeah, this is the gym, this is breakfast, it's lunch before we go. So they introduce you. So they put you in statuses, so if you're there for alcohol, you're under a different group. And if you're there for mental health, you're under a different. First day. The real schedule. Right. No. So. You get there, your first day. They happen. You're there, you put classified in. Okay, you're there for classes. They kind of break it down right here, it says. Clinical group, so you all meet and they meet in one group. And that's the topic, resiliency and whatever the topic is. And that's your time, 8:30 to 10. Right? Each of the classes were stations, we sent them on fire. They're required. ED, right? Just like fire. You had group session, and then when they need to break out to another group, you go out to another group and go to the class. It was like old school every day. Counselor talk to you, you talk as a group. Healing the group, so you guys. Because you guys are talking about them, right? You guys are talking together. Hey, why you here, or hey, you didn't make sense of this, but you tell this, or like, well, I get what you already done. So they talk to you, right? There are 60 guys there today. Soon as one leaves, another one goes up. Another one comes up. So that's how serious our mental health is fine. You guys know I was a little 60 dudes. Yeah. Every day, I have a bit of a Phoenix guy. Goodyear guy, and all over from Alaska to Hawaii. East Coast, a bunch of East Coast. There's some EMS workers I work for Boston. We're there, you have the internet there, right? So everybody's there getting, So our schedule is packed the first week. We go, first couple weeks, packed, go to the counselor, we talk to you, we regulate your girls, can't see, you just understand. They watch you because of the camera, when the bitches in the building, right, not in the she's. I don't like cameras. You can leave any single one, in there, you just get it right, get you right, you can leave any time you want, you're there volunteer, right? So, we do your classes and then we'll beat you through the whole day. Pretty good guys. And then you go to college, and then the down running, you take a picture off, and then you get across. Anything. All of these numbers, people left with people the full house will be better than the top. So that's how it is. So yeah, no, but we had an instrument, everybody worked out. And then at night, all the clinical people knew your name. They knew your name. I couldn't even remember the building. They knew your name. So every clinical person in the libraries, they knew your name. How do you know the address? Well, I don't even know your name yet. So everybody knew your name. You stand at certain times, take your phone away, and look on. Because you use your phone 2 hours a day. There's a East Coast time and West Coast time, which is. And then as you graduate your program, you got to use the phone a little bit more. But you got to get your phone back. They just didn't want anything outside of the story. But you still, but they have a house phone, that you can pick up and call anytime, or they can call you. So yeah, I know people out on the street, I don't know, you might be, talk to them. People will call them.
Chris, I'm sorry, can you project a little bit, I think a lot of.
Yeah. So yeah, you can talk to anybody you want. So then you can, you go to class and then you have these amazing counselors. And all those counselors have been in the service somehow, either family or dad, or father, or mother, uncles, living in the fire. So they understand how our jobs, they understand what we go through. It's not like a normal counselor who doesn't understand what we go through. All right, we make counselors cry, I guess, when we go to a counselor, right? There's some people that have stories of, hey, I made a counselor cry because they didn't understand what I was going through. We had trauma class, okay? So trauma would be anything in your life. Could be to, stuff you never got out when you were a kid, to stuff that happened as an adult. And those would be smaller classes, and you'd be with a counselor, and you'd have to write your buddies' information during the class. Trauma classes were exhausting because it's bringing up stuff you don't want to talk about, right? You're burying stuff you don't want to talk about, probably stuff you never talk about. And you do it to get it out, and you literally, those after trauma days, you were tired, you just didn't want to do anything else. Otherwise, the people you meet, you make these relationships with these people, and you're like lifelong friends, okay? You're lifelong friends with them, they understand what you're going through. As you graduate through the program, you're in, they call it station house. They're your house 1, is where you start. As you graduate, house 2, house 3, house 4. When you get to house 4, your classes are shorter. You only have to go maybe once a day. Okay? Everything starts shortening as you're moving down the program. So you go from like 5 days a week to 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and then like 1 day. You get more free time and stuff. They do a lot of meditation in classes, a lot of resilience training, cognitive behavior training. There's so much that you do, and you don't realize how much it helps. You might sit there and go, oh, it's not, we're talking, whatever, junk, but no, it helps, and it does. All the, and the counselor lets you talk. People are telling stories about, hey, this happened to me, or, hey, my dad used to beat me, or whatever it may be, and they were just, right? And you saw people progress. You saw them go from not saying anything to by the end, they're talking about themselves, the whole group, they're letting it all out. So it's a great place to go to get help. Don't be afraid. When people found out I went, I go, holy shit, he went wrong with that. And I don't care. People contact and ask me about the center. And I told them, and I said that, they ended up going, I said them. And then 5 of them said, hey, you changed my life. You saved my marriage. So that's how important it is. It falls under the Tiger Act, so people think you gotta use that FMLA and myself, no. The doctor writes a very vague note saying you need time off. And then you go, they pay you your wage, you still get paid, and it's under a law, so they can't do anything. None of it's shared. Just you and the counselor, and your file stays closed, they're not gonna share anything. So you get your file and paperwork, and you gotta do a rep plan at meeting. So, 1 month, you're gonna do this counseling, 2 months, this, you gotta make a plan. And you can, this day, I still go to counseling. I go every 3 months. Right? On medication, right, for depression, I have diagnosed depression, PTSD, and anxiety. Never thought I had anxiety. I had anxiety, right? When you meet with the counselors, they kind of watch you and diagnose you. So that's what I'm diagnosed with. You can take for what it's worth, but it works. It didn't affect my job when I got back. It was okay. I still work at the fire center, and but it's a place that I highly recommend. I know people don't want to talk about, hey, issues or whatever that might happen, but full songs and sound, they talk. Just that little one-on-one talk helps. We're all mentors, right? We mentor people, right? I teach fire academy down in Tucson it's like a PV or Glendale, and a small river. We mentor them, right? We're showing them the look. Why can't we do that to each other? Why can't we do that here? What's wrong with it, right? You can go and live for you in Harvard, right? Hey, you go over something today, you're quiet. Hey, whatever, fighting with the wife. So you can just talk, just by talking helps. Most of our, like I said, most of our group healing was through the group, was just outside sitting at the table and just shooting stuff. I can't tell you that. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here telling my story because. Because I care. I want to succeed. I want us to succeed, right? I don't want that stigmatism, right? Everybody thinks stigmatism, back in the day, at least when I was in the service, like suck it up, buttercup type thing, right? See death and you're like, oh, sorry. It's not like that. It piles on you, piles on me. And then somehow something comes out and you end up in a bad situation or drink too much or whatever it may be. I was there 60 days. You're alcoholic, it depends. We'd be there 90 days, you could be 60 to 90 days. Your insurance covers most of it. You just pay a copay in the end. Guess who helped me with my copay? They're new. Then we're at Tucson Fire, gave me a check. Here's your copay. We're paying it off. I didn't know anything like that. Right? We didn't bump your flight back home, so nothing came out of my pocket, right? That's what we do for each other, right? We give money to anybody that needs help. So don't worry about bills or it's gonna cost me money. It's not. We've got people there to help you. Okay. They can even put you on payment plan if you fix that. I think the amount was like $2,000. That's all it was. And the insurance picked up everything else. So don't be afraid to get help or ask for help, man. And you're not the only one, man. Like I said, there were 60 guys. Every time one left, a new one came in. It boggled my mind. I was like, yeah, this person. And then when you got there and you were new, you go and introduce yourself and you walk that person up. You show him, hey, this is where it was at. This is how classrooms go. This is how we eat dinner. It was a great experience. I want to go open the other one. When we open it, they were asking us to go. And I would like to go with them to open the new facility. So at the end of your tour, you guys have a bell. They have a bell. They give you a coin, right? For an IFF point, you get an IFF point, and we're ringing the bell, right? Start of a new chapter now. Right? That's what happens at the end. And you graduate, right? You do paperwork, graduate, stay in touch. They give you, they send you emails on virtual trainings or virtual classes all the time. You can click on and you can watch the classes on anything, whatever the topic is there. So, yeah, it's worth it, right? Don't be stubborn. Don't be. Hey, I can handle it. Right? I have a friend that I had to send. I had to go talk to the person. They're drinking. They're fine. They drink all the time. They're an alcoholic. You gotta stop this. You can't do it. I don't know how you function after work, but after you're not on work, then you're at home drunk. This is no. It's like, right? You help them, right? So I had to send them this. Sent them. I even took them to the airport, man. I said, hey, I'll take you to the airport. It's just me and you, man. We just go. So that's what that's this whole room, this whole togetherness we have. That's what it's about, right? That's why we're in the fire service, right? We like the camaraderie and the brotherhood, right? That story, if you read that story, get it out. That guy was with me, he's my roommate. We get you're in a bunk, four beds in a bunk. And in the story, he was with me. And actually both guys were with me. The old man who was in that story passed away, but he was telling his story. And it's a 9/11 story. And what he went through in 9/11, he never got to feel or deal with the healing help. The story's amazing, so you get to read it. It's pretty wild. But so other stuff. This is the campus. This is what it looks like. Look at it. Yeah, pool, went swimming, right? It's nice. I was there in September, so they were still swimming. Like I said, I also did the subgainful shot, they call it. It's for PTSD. They have a contract with one of the doctors. It's $500 out of pocket. And it's a needle they stick in your neck. And it stops the PTSD nerve or the anxiety nerve. And a group of us got it. And you kind of come out stroke face after a minute. But it's a big needle, you build like an X-ray. And it stops the nerve, it's for PTSD, so. That lasts, I think up to 18 months, and then we'll get another one. Insurance don't cover it right now, but this guy had a set contract with the guys down there, so. $500 is nothing, I guess the shots are rare, so. But they're good. It's a PTSD shot. And it helps. As soon as you get the shot, you have this overwhelming feeling, but. Like you, like, I guess you're being cared about, you felt so powerful after that. So. It was pretty well. I think, a group of us got it, and, every week, like this, they kept taking the group to, if they wanted to get it done. They had yoga classes. We had, sporting events, we did so much. And it was like camp. It was like a camp with a bunch of friends, right? After you got done with the first thing, it's camp, we were just hanging out, sitting around a bonfire, just talking. Just normal stuff, we talk about life. Some guys were there, they didn't know if they had a job, they didn't know if they got UUS. Some guys were going through divorce, they didn't know if they could come home to a wife. Some guys were for gambling, and tons of money with it. And like I said, alcoholics are there. So it's you need help, ask for help. There's plenty of services out there now. There's apps, I'm sure you guys have numbers and stuff to call. But you can even call our app if they'll answer the phone, and then they'll tell you. They give you a little list of what to bring, right? When you go, you can only take certain things, but you can Amazon everything. And Amazon did everything. You're talking about food to king to whatever guys want, but Amazon came every day. But it's pretty funny, because you caught on quickly, like, everything, in your car. Yeah. Yeah, it just how it comes through and they can check it real quick. So. In other words, everybody there's super nice, the doctors, like I said, the doctors are amazing. The way they read you and tell you. Then when you have your one-on-one with the doctor, they read you and tell you, oh, that isn't a word, that isn't. Wow, you know that about. So. It's very, very, very nice people there, probably the nice people I've ever met in a long time. And it was working, man, it was worth going, it changed my life, it saved my life. And I just want to get back, right? We all want to get back to help each other. I just want to get back and help. Look, you're not the only one, man. I thought I was the only one losing my mind. Well, another dude's going to do the same stuff. So, any questions about anything? Anyone want to know anything else about it?
Where's the facility?
It's in Marlboro, Maryland.
Maryland, yeah.
Yeah, Marlboro, Maryland. It's a very nice remote green area. It's away from everything. It's a real green, pretty facility. It held, like I said, 60, and then the new one's supposed to also if you want California. So, but,
Me and Chris talked as well, and he's making himself available to any member remotely. We're recording this, so we hope to get it out to every member. But those of you that missed kind of the intro of it, we want to offer and talk about services that the IA and your local can offer you. And Chris was a participant of that, so he's going to be available to all our members if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask him about, or just thoughts on something. You can give him a call, and I'll get that contact information out to everybody. So thank you, Chris. We can't thank you enough for coming.
Says I can keep talking, right? Before, when I talk about ball and eyes, no, not even talking about, you understand? So. We talked, like, not this year debate, but the last year debate conference. Me and the president of Phoenix Fire, he had his story and I story, we talked about the same thing. We both went. Small world. Man. Yeah, so. I wish you guys luck and I hope everybody stays healthy and mental health's a big deal, man, so. Stay strong and help each other, man. We're there for each other, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I have a couple more notes on the Center for Excellence. If you have questions for me, Chris, you know, but I put this up here. In our digging into cost and stuff, if you got to get a real now just kind of do it, but the Center for Excellence works through your and make sure what our number. Don't get intimidated by the number. 20 individuals or 5,600 or a family. If you're a family or an individual that needs healthcare a lot, then really out of pocket. If you're past your maximum, there's not a cost to it. All right. So in talking with Chief Patassi and HR, some of this information might not be completely accurate because as I was talking to Chris, the Tiger Act kind of covers us in our wages and things like that. So we're going to dig a little more into the resources there. But basically what they told me, you have 21 days. They'll help you and the IAF will help you fill out FMLA paperwork. And then after 21 days, you get the short-term disability. But again, talking to Chris, those numbers might not be as impactful because you might be covered on those things. But the most important takeaway from this whole thing is your locals here for you. We're here to help. We're here to offer these resources. We're here to point you in the right direction. Don't look at these numbers and time off and if you're going to get paid or not. We're going to make sure that you're taken care of. We're going to make sure you get there. We're going to make sure that you don't have to worry about paying for travel. We're going to make sure that if any costs, we don't want costs to be the limiting factor for you guys to find out. So with that, if you guys have any questions, you can give it to me. If not, we'll put this PowerPoint and this presentation and all the resources out to our members so that you guys have it. We're going to move on to our PAC. Even as recently as me taking the position as president, the PAC can be confusing. I was confused about it. Where's my $2 going? What's it being used for? All those kinds of questions that members might have. You know, we went through a time there where we're like, we got $40,000. Do we really need to contribute? Those kinds of things. So, in our research and digging in and really digging into politics, the convention was a great resource for understanding PAC and what it's used for. So my hope with this presentation is just to present to you what it's used for and why we do it. It's an optional thing for our members. You don't have to, but we have strength in numbers. The more members, even if it's a couple dollars a paycheck, really does affect change. So, okay, what is Fire PAC? Fire PAC is a political action fund managed by the IAAF, the PFFA, or your local union. It's made up of voluntary contributions by firefighters to advocate for firefighters and their families. It is used to support or oppose local ballot initiatives, state legislative efforts, campaigns, and candidates at all levels. Fire PAC is critical resource in fights for collective bargaining, healthcare, adequate staffing, retirement security, safer gear, better equipment, and healthy environment. One thing that I've really got to see in action in being in this position is that PFFA has been doing bi-weekly communications meetings. And really the crutch of what the PFFA is there for is political action. They have lobbyists down at Capitol every single day, busting bills that are going to affect us in a negative way, passing presumptive cancer bills There's a lot of bills affecting ambulance responses, which is negatively affecting the fire service. So they're down there every single day battling for us and for what we have and don't have. So that's just an example of the PFFA. No dues money is used for federal candidates. There's kind of that perception in that we're supporting Biden or we're supporting this candidate. I don't want to give money to that. It's illegal for PAC funds to contribute to federal candidates. They can lobby, they can endorse, they can recommend, but no funding is used for federal candidates. So when they select a candidate to endorse, it's based off of their contribution to firefighter issues. I wanted to make that clear. Fire PAC is about you, your family, and your union. Contributing to Fire PAC builds a more powerful and effective union. Every leader and member are encouraged to contribute. Again, it's voluntary, but the more we can get even just a couple dollars, the more effective we can be in our advocacy. Why? As long as politicians are involved in our ability to fight fires, firefighters have to be involved in politics. Every decision about our job influences by someone elected or appointed. Fire PAC empowers firefighters to build collective power and relationships by supporting campaigns, independent efforts to elect a firefighter majority. And that's what we're doing right now. Your local has a political action committee that is very active in our local politics. We're having regular meetings with council, communications with them. We've really striked some positive relationships in the last several months that I think is going to really set us up for the future. And the reality of politics is a lot of these politicians will be there for years, and sometimes move up to levels that affect firefighters on a national level. So on a local level, we really do have an impact not only on us, but also the potential future of other firefighters. Fire PAC has helped win fights for firefighters across the country. It has secured billions of dollars in federal funding to local fire departments through safer grants. You guys have all heard of those. Established first of its kind national cancer registry exclusive for firefighters, and it has defeated efforts to directly tax our employees, provided healthcare benefits, and continues to protect and pass collective bargaining. Not every fire department has collective bargaining, and the reality is there could be legislation next year that doesn't allow the state of Arizona to have it. So it's a constant battle, it's a constant fight. That's what these PAC dollars are used for. And just some of the things it kind of talked about these in the last one, but some other ones, the Windfall Act, that's a really big legislation on the national level right now that affects all of us across the nation. Guys, be safe.
I'll look at you. You get on the finger. Oh. What?
So the Windfall Act, they're really making progress for the first time in canceling the Windfall Act, which will affect all of us greatly. So I met when I went to the political action training academy out in Baltimore. I met with the director of the PAC, and he just reiterated the importance of everybody participating and kind of how it works on that national level. If we have a major ballot initiative or they're trying to take firefighters away from our department, Mesa went through something a couple of years ago where they were trying to get a ballot initiative passed to bring more money to public safety. There was over $500,000 that was contributed on an IAF level and the PFFA level. But the first thing the IAF looks at, and this is coming from the director of the PAC for the IAF, is do you guys have a PAC? Are you contributing? How much are you going to contribute to this effort? If you come in with no PAC and you have no money and you're not contributing anything, it's going to limit their ability to really help you. It's kind of a give and take deal. So the bigger our PAC is, the bigger it's funded, the more we can contribute to initiatives or these things that we need to pass, the better chance we have to get support and help. So pass it. When you pay for the, when you contribute to the IAF, it's as simple as $2 a paycheck. It is kind of the minimum suggested. Each level, if you see you increase 770, 2885, you gain a membership club level, which you get a pin. I know it's just a pin, but that just signifies that you truly do support the firefighter efforts. So that's how that works on the IAF, and I'll try and clear up the lines of kind of how that money's broken up, because when we contribute to 3 different entities, really. So I want to do a highlight real quick. Spencer is not here. But Spencer, when I was at the academy, they had a magazine with members throughout the country that contribute on those levels that you saw on that slide before. Spencer Nathy was on them. Brand new firefighter for this department, and he's part of the founders circle, which is $200 a year. So I thought that was pretty cool that maybe he accidentally clicked the wrong button. I don't know. Let's just be honest, but I'm gonna give him the credit. Say that's badass. I'm personally gonna start to contribute more now that I know what it's actually used for. But I wanted to give a shout out to Spencer. Local. So our local pack. This is some of our stats. Out of 63 members, we have 49 contributing, which I think is a pretty good number. Out of 49, we average about $2.83 a paycheck, and that contributes $138.70 together. We paid 90 to the PFFA, and this is where this kind of gets broken up. So we contribute on average $283 a paycheck to our local. Out of that 283, a portion of that at the end of the year at convention goes to the PFFA, and that's for those the fight at the Capitol and the cancer bills and all the stuff that the PFFA is doing. That's our contribution every year to them. So a portion of your money is going to our PAC, and a portion is going to the PFFA. The amount was reduced thanks to Roland here. So that we can help maintain our funds, and it was 36 a member fee, and that was reduced to 18. So that brings more money locally for us. Out of 63 union members, we have 33 contributing to the IAF. Again, it's separate. There's going to be, with our new bylaw proposal, there'll be 2 separate lines. You can contribute to both. You can contribute to one. Our recommendation as an e-board, we have a minimum of a $5 contribution would be our suggestion. If you want to do $1, you do $1. If you want to do nothing, you don't have to do nothing. But our recommendation is it really does go a long way of the money. So, and out of the 33, it's an average of about $237 paycheck. So right now, here's our current fund for our PAC fund. 39,000. We did spend a little bit this year on some endorsements. So you can go to the next one. And here's how that was kind of broken down. We owed Casa Grande some money for their PAC fund. So it's kind of some gray areas. So depending on your local jurisdiction, some cities don't allow local PACs to contribute to candidates. So sometimes you have to you give them and they give our candidates money. So Casa Grande, basically, when we endorsed Amber Learman, they wrote her a check. And then when they endorse our candidates, we write them a check. It's kind of that give and take. However, on state and federal levels, like Rich Fitiello, we wrote him a check right out of our PAC because there's different rules and regulations with that. So this just kind of breaks it down. We give 1,000 to Amber and 1,000 to Rich, and then Casa Grande still owes us $1,750. We do have an endorsement meeting next week with Eric Gettle. And if you guys aren't aware of Eric Gettle, he's probably our greatest advocate. He not only says he supports public safety and everything he presents himself with, but he has receipts. He's battled for us in the BFO, the budget meetings. He stood up for us at council. So he is probably our greatest advocate. So I have confidence that we'll probably be endorsing him next week as well. So just wanted to throw that out there. So how can your money be used locally? And these are some things that we didn't know really. And we've really been trying to dig into it. And the convention was a great place to learn some of these things. And some of the things that we got out of it is the PAC fund isn't as restricting as we thought. We thought we give it to candidates. We thought we can endorse a ballot. It's not that limiting. Actually, we can actually write a check from our PAC fund into our membership to take a mayor to a lunch, to take a council member and have a meeting with a couple council members to discuss a concern, to pay for lunch, or if we want to send mailers out, if there's a council member that is negatively impacting us, we can send mailers out. We can do news media, we can do whatever is related in that general realm. It's pretty vague, so we can start pulling from our PAC instead of pulling from our members' money to start doing these type of things. Some other things, ballot measures, endorsements, that's easy one. Stakeholder relationship building, that's what I just talked about, the luncheons and taking the mayor to dinner, or having her out to the fire station for some dinner. That could be PAC fund money, not coming out of our membership. And then office supplies, envelopes, or anything that our political committee would need could be also pulled out of the PAC fund. So that's pretty much the end of my presentation. There'll be room for some questions, but the question is, if not us, who? Nobody else is lobbying for us. Nobody else is fighting for our issues. Nobody else is talking to council and the mayor and protecting our wages and our benefits. It's got to be us. We have to be politically involved. We have to engage in our stakeholders, not only council and mayor, but we're part of the chambers now. We're part of businesses. We're communicating to any big stakeholder in this region, Pinal County, and the state that we need to advocate for us. So it's important. Moving forward, this union, at least under my leadership, we're going to be very politically active. It's going to be one of our top priorities. We have an MOU coming up this year. We have some crucial safety things that we're facing. So it is absolutely crucial that we stay politically involved. And just to kind of give a wrap up understanding of the money, when I went to that training, we simulated like a ballot initiative, and our group sent out mailers, and we did as if we were putting up something on the ballot. And we spent $40,000 in our first day of doing that campaign. So the money can fly out like that. Mailers, media, if we really are under attack and we need that money, $40,000 can go in a year. If we have candidates that we really need to get behind and support, and we want to get flyers, or we want to pound signs, and we want to contribute to that, and we really want this person in there, it's going to cost some money. So we're going to ask you guys again, probably at the next union meeting, when we finalize the vote on the bylaws. We'll probably have forms for all members to contribute whatever voluntary amount you guys choose. Our recommendation per our bylaws is going to be a minimum of $5. We'll have forms that you guys can sign, and then that'll be directly taken out of your paychecks. So any question on PAC funds and how that looks and what's that used for? Anything on that?
I don't have a question, but I have a statement. Sorry, let's hold the microphone, or the people hearing. So since Scott became president, he's been very active politically in our city with the mayor, council members, new council members. And it's paid dividends. The course and direction that the city has gone with our union, we feel it negatively through them not following our MOU, not allowing us to say union in a committee. The council is directly communicating with the city manager, telling him knock that shit out. All because of the efforts of Josh talking to them and the relationships that we're building. We have changed the course and direction that the city is moving with us, and we've had some recent conversations earlier about moving forward with the MOU committee, including the council members into our early discussions with the city manager, doing tentative agreements It is relationship building and it is paying off in spades right now. So good job, Josh. Appreciate it. You can keep it up.
Thank you, Jackson. And it's not just me, it's a team. We have a solid political action team that's really putting time we go to council meetings, we're involved, we're present. Whether it's virtually listening or in person, Olderback is on the political action committee as well. He's been to council meetings, Jackson's been to council meetings, so we're present, we're engaged. And like he said, we're gaining a lot from it. So, when we ask you to sign that paper to get a little bit of money for the PAC, it really is being utilized and we are being stewards of that money and using it in the right way. So, thank you guys. So next, we're gonna move on to what you guys are all looking for. This is Roland and convention been really getting into our post-retirement. So we're really gonna target it hard in this MOU. So there's a couple different plans out there. So this is kind of the introductory to that. There's gonna be some opportunities for the PFA to come down to answer questions. We're gonna have some time to really decide what we want to do as members, but ultimately it's your guys' choice. So we want to present options. Jackson has a little bit of information on his end. Roland has information on his end. So
Yeah, Jackson and I are kind of doing two different ones. We still have on the nation market. And so this one is retiree healthcare subsidy benefit. That's a union-based plan. And so again, this is just information-based. There isn't anything that we're dedicating our funds to or anything like that. It's just informative. To get this out there that this is what we're working on, this is what we're looking at for our next MOU. Is in our MOU that the city, upon mutual agreement with the union, that they will provide healthcare retirement subsidy benefits to us. It's up to us to figure out which plan, but also we need the city's support. So that's the hard thing. So again, this is one of them. It used to be called like the Tempe Healthcare Trust. And then the PFFA took it over through the foundation, and then they now call it the retiree healthcare subsidy benefit through the PFFA foundation itself. Next one, hit the next one. So I like this to be a dialogue. There's going to be a lot of information to throw at you. Hopefully you guys have some questions for me. At the end, I plan on talking to Donnie Youngberg, who really headed up Tempe's healthcare subsidy plan, and get some more information. A lot of this is customizable, so I can't give you hard figure numbers, but it's pretty much a Vivo plan, and I'm just gonna read it behind you guys, so it's a little bit of staring at you in the eye. So Viva is a voluntary employee beneficiary association. It's tax exempt trust fund through the PFFA, again, Professional Firefighter Arizona Foundation. Created under 501c9 of the Internal Revenue Code. It's tax-free distributions under 213 Section D of the Internal Revenue Code. It's kind of like the same as your agency plan. Contributions are pre-tax, so it drops your taxable income. Distributions on medically qualified expenses are tax-free before age 59 and a half, which is the same as your HSA. I put 59 and a half there, but that's technically if you have like IRAs. That's when you can take out about a tax penalty. This does not apply to have a 10% tax penalty towards it, as long as you are taking distribution for medically qualified expenses. That will be discussed later on in the presentation. All right, so under the foundation, the PFFA foundation itself, you can also custom and itself, so it'll be something like local 4561 Viva, put something up there. It'll be like the big entity, and then we're a branch off that entity, and that would be ours, and that will be funding. We pretty much be self-funding our own healthcare retirement. So think of it like your pension plans, but for your healthcare, it's set up very similar. And you can get you can take distributions on Medicare or for life. It's recommended for life, and we'll get later on to that. But think of it as like a separate pension for your healthcare. That's what this is pretty much designed to be. So pretty much create a Viva Trust for local 4561 under the PFFA Foundation, their umbrella, and contribution to go into our fund for our members, pretty much our members only. Again, think of it like a pension for healthcare.
can customize our Viva under guidance of actuaries to the PFFA Foundation. Actuaries are like dudes who are like math magicians, they're wizards. And they take all the money, like say we're gonna contribute a certain amount of money, so $25 paycheck, for example. And the city matches $25, which is grown up hypothetical number. And they'll figure out when the fund will be matured, or when we can take distributions. The vesting cycle, how long it'll take for members to vest into it to get a distribution, and what the payouts will be. That's what actuaries will do for us. Again, I have not spoken to any actuaries, we have to see if we have an interest, because the membership interest in this to actually move towards talk to the actuary. So that's what I'm saying, it's very customizable, is because figure out the dollar amount, and go from there, and then give guidance to the actuaries, get really slick line numbers. Examples, so can customize our vehicle under the guidance of actuaries, right? Examples include like adding beneficiaries, like stock of beneficiaries if you want, vested periods, payouts, union leave, like if someone leaves the union department, what will happen, retired, not vested, all of these like questions that we'll have, again, we have to run through actuaries and see what the hard numbers will be, for different scenarios. You know, vested but fund is not mature period would be above, again, that's where we're getting to the technical, so there's a lot of phrasing with this, because again, we just kind of talk to actuaries. So this is where it's gonna get hard, so requirements, talking with Donnie Youngberg, there has to be 100% participation in union members, so if you pretty much part of local 4560, you will be contributing into this plan if we want to go this route. So it will be a mandatory process. And again, I think that like it's a pension healthcare. And the city will have to agree on contributing into our Viva. So this was Tempe's structure. When they started, they had each member who was part of the union will pay $25 per member with a matching contribution of $25 by the city every paycheck. Again, now that this fund is matured, which took Tempe 13 years to mature, so you're talking like it's time. Now I don't know if they're still contributing $25 per member now that the fund's matured, but that's what it took to start. And of course, these are totally customizable numbers. It can be different, it could be $15 per member, 35 per city, you know, vice versa, 35 member, 15 city. It's just what gets. Next one. This was really advised to us what not to do for our Viva PFFA Foundation is pretty much complicating it by creating tier systems. Mesa's tried to complicate it and they kind of ran into some troubles, making it voluntary, making it not mandatory, and the fund was never matured, not consistently educating members on what this is, and then eventually got voted out. And so pretty much you want to keep it simple. Again, they made a voluntary membership or benefit and never matured, has to be 100% participation, consistency and time is key. There's two different distribution modes, like up to Medicare or do a life distribution. Actuaries can make this decision more educated once the technicals are addressed. I'm not going to say which one's better, which one's not. But obviously the longer duration of payments might be a lesser amount if you're going to give it for life or up to Medicare. And not continuously educating new members, right? Because if we don't do that, we get this, say we get this into our MOU, and then we don't educate our new members, they're gonna be like, well, what the heck is this for? And so that's kind of easy just to continuously educate them on to what the FUBA is and what it's doing for our members. Next one. Key points that I haven't addressed yet. I'm sorry, I know I'm going into a lot of throwing a lot of you at, but money will be taken out of your paycheck. Anyone who contributes will receive their money back plus interest. This is one of the big questions that Donnie would always get is, well, say members are only here for 2, 3, 4 years, and but are you just gonna take my contributions? Like that's not fair. And you're right, I don't think fair. So if you contribute into this Viva, and say you retire before the vesting period that we have to decide upon, most of it's 10 years, it's like a pension. you will get your money back plus interest, because just like your pension, this goes in and gets professionally managed, and then that money gets thrown into the market, to try and create some revenue or some share appreciation and make our money work for us. And so if you're not vested and you retire, you get your money back plus interest back from whatever returns from back in that market that year. If you're not vested and retired, leave the unit apartment, again, entitled to your money, never be taken from you, that money be taxed for you for qualified medical expenses. Again, you get money back, and then for as long as you make those payments for any qualified medical expenses, be tax free. So what the foundation does is they'll send you, they pretty much send a questionnaire at the beginning of the year. Be like, hey, did you use this money for qualified medical expenses? You check yes, send it back to them, they're good. If you say no, which are times with yes, they'll send you a 1099 form stating like why did you, or pretty much so you have to pay for tax. So pretty much you always use it for qualified medical expenses. 1099 form, blah 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 blah. Distribution amount per member will depend on funding of FIBA. The more funded, the bigger the payout. On average, today's timelines, this is Tempe. They're averaging around $300 in distributions a month for their members to offset their healthcare costs. And they did it for life, not Medicare. And so at the end of this video, kind of pulled everything together. I know you guys are probably confused when you're talking. There's a lot of technicals, but overall, distribution from Tempe, they're getting around $300 a month to help offset their medical costs from this since they started, 13 years ago.
And it's got new gears.
So 4561 requirements, as stated earlier, 100% participation is required to start. It's pre-tax, so it drops taxable income. Contributions are required every paycheck. Members will decide contribute amount if approved moving forward. This will take a lot of time, like I said, it took Tempe 13 years, a decade's time at least for the fund to mature. And we are pretty much handcuffed until that fund is mature, so we can actually utilize that and just.
How long till your next fire helmet gets?
Again, actuaries will be able to give more accurate timeframes. The big thing is we have to start somewhere, whether we do PEP, whether we do this, whether we find something else. The IFF has a program that's very similar. It's kind of like a hybrid between a PEP and this one. Obviously, we do have some options, but this one is very customizable towards local board about 61 because it is a union based plan.
Is there anything or not?
So next slide.
Go to bathroom.
Requirements, of course, they have to agree to help fund the VIVA. Actuaries can help once you get agreed upon amount. Has to be written in the MOU and protected every time the MOU is up for negotiations, just like everything. So once we get this in, we always have to try and keep it there, and so the city can try to get. Never be ready, Blanco. So the steps for this is, again, we're in the information gathering phases, but membership will need to eventually go on which plan you decide to do. And we need, for this one in particular, we need 100% participation rate for every single union member. If you get 100% accepted by the membership, has to negotiate with the city to our MOU. If that's agreed upon, we can contact the PFFA, which I'm already in contact with anyway. So this one's kind of a hybrid between steps 1 and 2, and we can meet with the actuaries to talk about the technicals and specific rules we want to set aside, like in slide 3. Whether we want to add benefit during the vesting period, or the mature rate, contribution amounts, etc. But overall, before the video, I can't give you hard numbers. Again, I need to talk to actuaries. Again, number one is we need to see if there's interest for our members to do this type of plan. The big thing is that we got to start somewhere. There's a lot of cities who are about pushing full healthcare, which aren't requiring this I have top priority. We have to do it for the younger members, our future members in our industry. And we just have to get started, because talking to the PFFA actuary that was there at that convention, He's like, this is like one of those, really bad scenarios that aren't getting talked about, there's post-healthcare retirement. And you guys got him something, you got him soon, and so that's why Jackson and I are really trying to find the best plan that we can find, but again, it has to be voted upon by the membership, ultimately, it's your guys' decision. This one is very customizable, so you can talk about, I can't give you a hard fact, I can't give you detailed numbers, because again, you need a lot of information from the actuary to do that. The PEP plan is a lot less complicated, it's individualized, it's not something pulling money together like a pension, so it's just different, not saying it's worse, it's just different. But overall, we need to get the city on board, something that's huge thing to be, that you need to figure out what we want to do. And this is just one of the tools that we found that we'll present to you guys after doing some of the research that I can before talking to actuaries to present to you guys to see our next step for. So with that said, before I start the video, is there any questions you guys have thus far about this plan in particular? No. Yeah, next slide. Yeah.
Right now, we're 13 years for.
That you kept it or you're then get some money.
That's what kind of maturity period. So let's say a guy has incomes like this. I just want to make sure I got it, but in that 10-year period, he might not meet that maturity rate, but when he leaves, he'll get his money back with it.
So that's where it gets.
It's all fun that way.
Yeah, that's what it's customizable. They were recommending like a 10-year vesting period, just like a pension. And so say someone has 10 years vesting within here, is 10 years and 2 months. But the fund hasn't matured yet. So what's gonna happen in that scenario, at least that's what Tempe does and what Dan is telling me, is that you just won't receive a paycheck until that fund matures. Once that fund matures, you get back paid that amount from when you would have retired. And then you get distributions the rest of your life. The only way that you will get like a one lump sum of interest is if you do not meet that vesting period. Say we put it for 10 years, to make it happy, but someone retired at 8. You know, just like your pension, if you retire before 10 years, you're gonna get your money back. That's exactly what this is.
But the employer contributions stay in the system if you leave before the vesting period, but you always get your money back.
Yeah. So this we'll play a video that Youngberg has sent me, and if you just want to fast forward to 40 seconds, we can play it. It'll just speed up the process.
plans are very similar, but they both work towards the same goal, but they're different vehicles to get you there. The nationwide plan, even though it's a VIVA, 501c9, it pays out differently than if we did the IFF supplemental plan. The goal for the IFF plan is to get to the end of it, get to your investment period and maturity of the note, and collect $300 or whatever it's going to be, somewhere in that range, $300 a month. Nationwide post-employment health plan is different. When you get to the end of it, you have a big pot of money. You can use that big pot of money as quickly or slowly as you want. The contributions are different as well. The nationwide sets a minimum limit of $120 a year per the employee. The employer contribution can come in many different forms. They can do a lump sum payment at the end and pay it out through your unused sick time. That is an option that we're discussing. However, there's other options that are out there. Thanks to Josh's recent political involvement and the tone that has changed, I feel that what we could probably do is bring both of these plans forward together and not have them compete against each other at all. Because they do two different things. Yes, it makes the city have to work just a little bit more to manage and fund two plans. But they already, if you look at your paycheck, they already make 1,000 different adjustments anyway. They have an entire department. They have one of the their department probably has the most employees in the entire city besides the police and fire department. They have a lot of people working in finance, counting the money. So doing this is not going to be that much more difficult. The other difference to this plan too is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you're in the plan. If you're in the plan for a year, if you're in the plan for 30 years, your contributions and the contributions from your employer all come back to you. Same caveat as the IFF plan. It is 100% membership required. We can't keep people out. I think we have still a question to ask on the IFF plan because we have one person who's not a member. And I think we need 100% membership. You have to be a member to be in the IFF.
You need to be a union member.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who it is.
I think that's.
We can overcome this. We just have to make sure that we're not in violation of the meeting confer code that says that we have to represent and provide the same benefits to all unions, to all members, whether they're dues paying or not. It's small obstacles or something else we have to look at. But I wish Paul was still here because he was the one that gathered all the information from all the people who put forth the things that they wanted. Post-employment health plan was one of the top ones. So it is high on the list. I don't want everybody to freak out because we're gonna saddle you with $600 or $700 a year of payments into one or two post-employment health plans. But you should not feel that impact because Josh is gonna get you guys big pay raise.
No pressure.
Anyway, that's the plan. I don't want to bore you. You guys have been listening. You can talk all morning and you probably have better things to do. If you have any questions on either one of these plans, talk to me or Roland. We'll be happy to answer any questions, but my recommendation is that we bring both of these plans forward to the MOU meeting. And they may or may not want to fund both of them. I think we have some leverage to do it. And if it comes, push comes to shove, Obviously, the membership will choose which plan they're gonna do.
Yeah, and
That's,
yeah, I got a question. So
yeah,
the way the benefits makes to you, it kind of like an HSA with restrictions on what you can use it for and what you can't use it for. I know probably guys.
scroll back up. You can use it for anything. It's like an HSA. You can use it to pay premiums. You can use it to pay for drugs. You can use it to go to the doctor. But
Pointed towards premium or insurance premiums, right?
no, that's a completely separate plan. This is the universal plan. There's a premium plan that can only be used for premiums, but this is not what I'm recommending.
There is restrictions on how you can use it.
It has to be for medical expenses. If it's not, then it's taxed.
Like you can't walk in
Yeah. It's.
Walgreens and be like, I'm gonna. You know, whatever, we'll buy whatever, it's at home, it's like, people down in their life.
Yeah.
So just like your 457, you pull money out of your 457, right? Well, if you pull it out early, it's taxed. Because you broke the IRS rule that it's organized under. Same thing with this, if it doesn't meet the IRS code 501c9 for Viva, and you don't use the money for that, then you get taxed for it because you didn't use it for what it's planned for. That's it. You're not gonna go to jail. You're not gonna get in trouble. The IFF plan is the same way, but it just pays differently. They only give you $300 a month. You get $300 a month. You use it any way you want. Most people are using it to offset their actual retirement plan. A lot of people are using the IFF retirement plan, which I think was in that video a little bit. The goal, what our goal is going to be with post-employment health plan is to bridge a gap, and that gap is between your retirement and the age that you can get Medicare. For most people, it's gonna be 10 years. For me, it's gonna be a little bit less. For Emily, it's gonna be a little bit more. So we wanna make sure that when you retire, you can get to that as close to Medicare as possible. Some of us will make it, some of us won't, but hopefully if we do these plans, generations down the road, we'll be able to make it there comfortably, and not have to deal with the things that we've had to deal with.
You gotta do a foundation, and so the sooner the better. But like we were talking, like we're both at the convention, it's like, we're talking like the silent thing. Getting up to Medicare, people are just getting obliterated when they retire with the Medicare costs, they call it the secret pandemic. And so this is trying to soften the blow of that secret pandemic. Whatever plan, we just need to get something, right? So that's why we're presenting multiple stuff, I guess it's all plans.
Paul,
I was gonna say, I had a nationwide post-employee health plan. And your nationwide, what they did with us, Sun City West, when we started it, because it's for the firefighters, they let us go into like stocks that they didn't usually dip into because they had good return on. They had BlackRock, which is no longer allowed right now. But the big difference between these two is what I found when we looked into them and stuff like that, is with the one that Roland presented, you're guaranteed your money pretty much. It comes back into, but the whole like before you start collecting your money on it, it is a stock market. And it does go up and down. It's like having a 457 or 401k. You rely on retirement. Being from rural metro, we had guys that relied on their 401k, I think, in rural metro. I literally had a captain that was going to retire in 2 weeks, and he had $600,000-700,000. And when Ramsey did his little thing, he dropped all the way down to 40 grand. We thought he was going to buy a bullet. We realized we were nervous for him, all the guys like that. So when you guys look into it, when you do vote, remember that if you do a post-employee health plan, potentially get more money sooner, like if you need it and greater, the potential for what it becomes and before you retire to lose it through an economy that's unwavering, that changes. And when you do roll-ins, it might be substantially less, but you're guaranteed. So if you play the stock market, you might retire and have better healthcare funds, or you want to go with a guarantee when you guys think of it. And it's mine went up and down for a while. It did really good at the end until I had to cash it out coming here, but just FYI.
yeah, they both use the investment strategies. If you leave the IFF plan, or the PFFA plan, before it has, before you're vested, you get yours back plus interest, whatever that interest is. But both plans are, they take your money and they invest.
Yeah, it's just different, best one's for risky.
There's two more, but this one's real quick. All right, guys, thank you. Well, this isn't the first time we're gonna talk about this. There's gonna be more opportunities for questions. In the end, we're all voting on it, so we're gonna have more opportunities to present this when we have more of the concrete data. But if there's, probably in the next meeting, we'll just get a vote to see if this is something that we want to pursue in our MOU. And if that's the case, then we'll really start digging into the numbers. So this was just kind of an introductory to it. But you'll hear a lot more about it. Please bear with us. I know, Jackson, you gotta go. If anybody else as well, but we have two more sections. We'll try and be quick with it. Roland's gonna talk about local finances and where our dues are going, what that looks like. And this is directly tied to the next item, which is our bylaws, which I'm gonna do a quick presentation of the emerging changes. But there's a little bit of an increase that we're asking for. It's based off a percentage versus a singular amount. So Roland's presentation here is to really kind of break down how our memberships are used, so.
I think we'll get it over. Think fast, alright, so PFFA, we pay monthly dues or per capita to both the PFFA and IFF, Firefighters Arizona and International Association of Firefighters, to be in compliance. Per capita in Latin means, for each head, more common definitions, delays, languages, by or for each person. Pretty much we pay dues to the PFFA and IFF for each member via per capita. Next one.
So
Go through this fast, man. Per capita for each member, as of 5/3/24, is $8.46 per member per month. And this gets put up to a vote for each year at the convention, and this convention, the dollar figure has not changed, that was cool. So yearly, each member will be paying $101.52 to the PFFA. Current membership as of 5/3/24 is 58 members, so each month, I pay the PFFA through our Firefighters First Credit Union, $490.68 per 58 members. That equates to $5,888.16 annually for 58 members. This is commonly changed due to membership fluctuations and per capita adjustments. That is saying the 846 can get changed each year. It just depends on the macro environment, everything. IFF, again, going down per capita, each member has a 5/3/24, $17.52 per month. So each year, each member pays $210.24. There's a $10 membership initiation / reinstatement fee if you come back as a union member. One-time fee that we pick up as the local. Example, 5 new members, initiation fees $50. And that comes out of each month, it automatically gets drawn from our Firefighters First Credit Union. And then if there's an initiation fee, it just goes right onto that cost. Current union membership 58, so monthly, $1,016.16 for 58 members. Annually, we pay $12,193.92 for 58 members. And again, commonly changes due to fluctuations of per capita adjustment. So our dues per member, so we ask $40 a paycheck, totaling out of 58 members of just a little over 60 grand, is what we bring in for memberships. On free paycheck months, as you look at your paychecks, you still pay your dues. So that breaks down to $25.98 per capita for PFFA and IFF monthly dues. So each member, each month, will pay $25.98 minus from the 80, because again, it's per paycheck. So I just broke it down in here, not gonna get into it too crazy. But at least $54.02 to the local 45.61 per month. And if you have questions, ask me. If you want details. And yeah, no financial institution. And this does not include the PAC fund that we're going to talk about, because it's a separate account and its own EIN number, as you guys saw with the Chase business account. Financial institutions that we utilize, Firefighters First Credit Union, we've been established with them since 2017. It's on the card, so you look. Each e-board member possesses a business platinum credit card. We don't do debit cards because they found that a lot of shady shit happened with debit cards, so we took all the debit cards away and we just do credit cards. We have a checking account, which the default membership dues go into, and a saving account plus a member services account. We have a 49 board account and community outreach account that we can always fluctuate and change the verbiages of those. Want to kind of consolidate some of those accounts in the future, which you can always do at any time for via a membership vote. And then for a business high yield savings account through Live Oak Bank, and that at least we get some yield on some of our money or interest being back. That's some of our money that we have on there. Right now, we have a little under 60 grand in there, and we get about $200 each month just from the interest alone, instead of putting into a crappy savings account with 0.01%, we're actually getting 4% back on our money. So there's little ways that we're trying to do to create some more money for the membership. So that's it. I want to be fast. So guys have any questions, let me know.
I'll be real quick too, you know, you got stuff to do, it's Saturday, but, I emailed to everybody, every member has seen the bylaws. This is another opportunity for us to present some of the changes. I'm just highlighting some of the major ones. There's some minor ones throughout there. Next union meeting will be the opportunity for questions. You can ask questions today, but will be your, you need to get out of here, Chris, or are you good? Next union meeting, bring your questions, write down notes, concerns, issues. Ultimately, members vote on our bylaws. And I want to try and get them voted on by next union meeting so I can present them to the IAF. We're supposed to stay current with our bylaws, at least bare minimum every 4 years. We're about 8 years past it. And that affects us at convention, it affects us asking for help in our MOU process. The IAF offers a GIS report where basically they look at your city and they dig into the finances of the city and give you actual factual data of how much money they have, how much they can spend, all these things, so that if they meet us with data, we'll have data to meet them with. But we can't get those things if we don't have a current bylaws, so it's very important. So just real quick, one of the first changes was associate members, and that's for battalion and above. It's not recognized by the IAF associate members, so it's been recommended by the IAF to remove that language. So I removed the language. My suggestion moving forward is I'm gonna ask chief staff and above to contribute hopefully the same amount that they were contributing in dues to our member services. And then that could be used to help our members in time of need or crisis. They're still part of the team. They'll still be invited to certain events that we have that are not our immediate family. They'll be invited to those. You know, for being a part of that. So that's one immediate need or change I had. Yeah. Next one's meetings. Like I said, when we first started today, we meet 4 times a year. Most unions meet once a month. I'm not proposing we meet every month, but I'm just adding some flexibility because our current bylaws say we meet January, April. It defines the dates that we can move and it defines the times. This is a little more broad in the sense that we could pick, if we have a lot of stuff to do, we could do one consecutive months, or we can skip a couple months and do another one. Only thing this says is that we have to do it 4 times a year. So that kind of opens it up for us to have some flexibility. Some other language that was added in there is our ability to do these Zoom meetings and virtual voting, which will work towards. But in order us to officially take votes and members voting virtually or over Zoom, we have to have it in our bylaws. So that's the language change there. Quorum. This is a big deal. Our current language is just frankly it can be dangerous because the language in the wording that it says, it basically gives the e-board the ability to vote and make decisions without members. That needs to change. It's the members union. You guys need to have a voice. So when we have meetings and we do votes and we make decisions, some people do 25%, I put 10%. So let's take 60 members. If we're having a union meeting, we need to have 6 members present, not e-board members, to be able to affect business. Sometimes that can be hard. That's why we added the virtual portion. As long as we can maintain that 6 members at those meetings, we can make decisions and votes and those type of things. So, that was empowering our members and giving the power back to our members. So. More language about electronic voting. This is based off of what the IAF recommends for language for those things. Number and titles, there's a change here, and this is to get us up to speed with what other unions do. Currently what we have is we have the president, vice president, secretary, executive vice president, is the positions right now. State vice president. The state vice president position is Jackson right now. It's not really recognized throughout the valley anymore. It used to be the person that would go to convention, be the representative. It's no longer recognized as that. And when I was involved in the e-board prior to being the president and up to current, there was always kind of an identity crisis what that role really is, because their original position was to go to convention to update us for PFFA stuff. It's just not that way anymore. So I want to get us current with other unions and their language that they're using. So a lot of these things were taken from Goodyear and some of the departments that have a really strong unions. So basically I'm converting the state VP, I'm proposing, if it's voted on, of changing the state VP, the state vice president position to a trustee position, along with the executive vice president. So we'll have 2 trustees, we'll have a vice president, a secretary, and a president. As it stands right now, the executive vice president is appointed by the president. So that's a position that if we don't need it, I don't have to appoint it. If we want it, need it, I can appoint that. So I kept that in the language, and ultimately you guys can decide how that goes, but so one of the trustees will be appointed by the president. Every other position will be voted by you. And that gives me the autonomy to say, hey, we're kind of fat on the e-board. We don't really need that extra person right now. Right now, we need that extra person. Absolutely. But there could be a time where we just don't have the right person for that spot. And we can have some flexibility there. So that's the point of that. And then it puts the language about station trustees in there, how that's voted. I kept the language the same. That's going to be up to you guys. Whether members vote on the stewards or the e-board chooses a steward. Right now, the language, basically you guys are voting on the steward. So we can talk more about that at the next meeting. Delegates, I just put the language in there because as you remember in our last union meeting, we had to go through a whole process to decide who the delegates are because it's not defined in our bylaws. So I don't automatically get a go because there's no language. We have to kind of go through a whole process. So most unions in the valley use language that say their president or their secretary, or they define their normal representative. And then any additional delegates or alternatives would be voted on by them. So that's what this language is. It's basically saying that the president will be the delegate for the state and the national, and any other delegates will have to be voted on. So. This is the same thing. That's just the alternative language. Same thing. This is just state delegate and alternatives. Okay, dues. This kind of correlates with what Roland's saying. As you can see, roughly half of our dues go to the PFFA and IFF. So we really want to dial in our member services. We really want to be able to offer more for you guys. So with the language change, I'm proposing 1.5% of the topped out BLS firefighter. This is a departure from the $40, a defined amount, because as we get pay raises, as we get more benefits, it kind of builds with us getting more money. It's a percentage, so it'll always increase as we make more money. With that, PAC, we're defining that. That's an optional contribution. We're recommending $5 bi-weekly. And then also too, a lot of unions are doing this. Again, this is optional. But I would like to propose $5 bi-weekly in addition or more or less, whatever members want to contribute to it, to go strictly to member services. And that'll be used for hardships, for, any kind of, if someone needs to go to the Center of Excellence and we need to help assist them to get there, mental health resources that we need to offer. So that member services will be utilized for that. It'll be earmarked just for member services. Or our year-end family events, all those kinds of things, it'll help contribute to that. Officers' compensation, again, a lot of the state unions are going to a percentage. That way you don't have to keep going back in there and saying, hey, we got 500 members now, we gotta increase our percentage. So Goodyear does 4% of the topped out BLS firefighter goes to their e-board. This is for executive team. I'm proposing 2. We have half the amount of firefighters that Goodyear has. I'm not trying to ask for all of your money. I think it's fair. But again, you guys will decide on how this goes, but really it's just a fraction of an increase of where we're at now. It's really not much. Me and Roland had a lot of deep conversation about how that looks and how much money we're making versus how much we should, kind of a thing. And none of us are here for money. That's just a reality, but we spend hours and hours. My crew can attest to it. We spend a lot of time here and awful work doing this stuff. And we want to be able to have a team that, or an executive team that is supported. And one of those ways we're supported is by financially compensating us for all the time that we're putting into these things. So with that 2%, I originally had that 2% broken down for every executive board member, but after my conversation with Roland, it was maybe, it can be perceived as maybe too much. So what I did is I took 35% of that pay, and I have the officer pay policy that you guys can view as well. Basically it takes 35% of that 2% and earmarks it for a year-end bonus. So what that allows us to do as an e-board and members to vote on ultimately is distributed amongst e-board members at the end of the year, you know, based on what you're doing. If you're doing nothing or way less, you're not gonna get as much as a bonus. If you're doing a lot more, you're gonna get a little bit more. It's presented by me to the membership and I break it down, but what it also adds to is those members that are on MOU committee, that are on the political action committee, that are spending time on these committees to help out, spending time on the planning committee, taking time away from their families and their day. It allows us to give bonuses to those members at the end of the year as kind of like a thank you for what you contributing as well, because it's not just us, all the team. There's 14 members on committees right now. We want to be able to give back to them as well. So it's not just us getting that money. This is just the officer pay policy, and it's just exactly what I said. The 35% will be set aside, and it's roughly about $6,000. So in December, the way this proposal goes, you guys can tweak it, you guys can change it. It's your policy. But as it stands right now, it's roughly about $6,000 at the end of the year. I would present it to the members saying, this person gets 2, this person gets 100, this person gets this, little comments on why that bonus is being given to them. And if the members vote on it, then we'll distribute that money. If they vote, we don't want to give money to anybody, then we just don't. And it's also based on our funding too. Maybe we have a year that we got hit really hard with finances. Maybe we contributed a lot to member services. It gives us some flexibility that if the funding's not there, then we won't use it, but. It's just more of how the percentage is broken down. 15, 10, 10, the stewards will get 2.5, and then the trustees are 10, and then the remaining amount of that 35% that will be broken up at the end of the year. This gives us a little bit more flexibility in spending, because right now, if it's anything over $200, which is really hard for us to do business, if it's anything over $200, we have to take it to them. And if we have to wait 3 months to donate or give back to somebody or do something like that. It makes this really difficult to do our job. So this gives us flexibility. If it's anything over $500, our e-board has to vote on it. We have to decide on it together. And then anything over $2,500, the members will vote on it. I assure you, we're gonna be stewards of your money. We are very, we all talk to each other, we all vote on things, or vote down things. Anything on higher amounts, we're gonna present to you guys, and you guys get to make that decision. So, ultimately, it's your money, and, any of these items or anything that you guys don't approve, if finances are open, please look at them, because there's no secrets there. And that's it. I'll throw it out to questions on bylaws. If you guys wanna just kind of take notes on the bylaws I sent you, I'll resend them out. I'll send this officer pay policy, dig into it. Ask hard questions, challenge it. Because this is gonna be our bylaws for probably at least the next 2 years at minimum. So, it's your bylaws, not ours. Well, it's all of ours, but you guys are voting on it. So, any questions on anything today, or save it for the next meeting? Well, thank you guys. This is our first one. I know we'll kind of jumble around on some things, and I want to give a special shout out to Chris. I mean, he drove up here from Tucson. For getting that board. Like I said, he's gonna be available for everybody. And there's some handouts as well about the Center for Excellence. So, thank you guys.